Hi, this is Swati Seela from the softwaretestinghub.com team, and in this session we are going to talk about exploratory testing. Exploratory testing, again, it stands for literally what it means. Exploration is nothing but, um, randomly looking through things to find your way, right? So exploratory testing is similar to that. So this is typically followed, or this is typically, this typically takes place when you have a new system to test, or when you have a new set of code that is deployed, and you're just trying to, randomly check if everything is in place or not. So exploratory testing simply is a non-documented, random ad hoc form of testing your application. Again, normal testing, so as this is the opposite form of the formal testing process that we all follow. So when we say formal testing process, we talk about having a test case document, working our way through it in a logical, sequential fashion, going over one test case after the other, one step after the other, one page after the other, and making sure that the application is thoroughly tested. Whereas in exploratory testing, we are going to not follow a particular set of sequence of steps. We're not going to follow a set document or number of test cases. We are simply going to take the application, do what we want to do, and familiarize with the application. And if there are any errors that are very obvious in your face, you're going to obviously catch it during exploratory testing. Now, exploratory testing is also referred to as ad hoc testing, sometimes monkey testing. Now, there is a lot of argument about whether ad hoc testing and exploratory testing are different, whether in one, there is a documentation after testing, or whether there is no documentation at all. But really, to keep this concept very, very simple, exploratory testing is any sort of random testing that you're performing. And ad hoc testing and exploratory testing, these are the two names that you can that you can use interchangeably to refer to this form of testing. Now I think exploratory testing has three major advantages. Number one, you get familiar with the application. Now, familiarizing with the application via exploratory testing is a common process when the application is new, or when a new version of an application is deployed into your current QA system. Now, familiarizing in the sense, sure, when, say for example, you are new to Facebook or any other social networking site. Now, when you are new to something, what do? You simply randomly click on, some buttons that you see, probably go and see, how your profile is looking, and probably check out a friend's profile and things like that. Now, when you are familiarizing with your new AUT that you have, when you're doing this, to perform exploratory testing, the intent is very important. Why are you familiarizing with the application? Are you simply checking and just moving on? And when you are checking, are you also validating? So if you are familiarizing the application with the intent of validating, that is exploratory testing, not just clicking on random stuff and not worrying or not paying attention to what's happening on the system. So even when you are not following a document, the process still remains the same. You're going to perform steps on your AUT and see whether the result or the behavior as you expect it to have, is it being is it being met? Is that how the application is behaving or not? Is the decision that you're making. The second reason, or the second way in which exploratory testing can be really, really helpful is, again, as I said, obvious or in your face, serious kinds of errors which are like, really out there. You can catch them really quickly. Say, for example, you have an application where there's a home page, and this eventually links to 3 or 4 different pages in your AUT. So there's like home page, page 1, page 2, page 3, and to get to the next page, you have to move. You have to like pass all the subsequent stages. So with exploratory testing, and if you're not following a set sequence of steps, you can simply click on different pages and get there. And what would normally take for you to find an error in the fourth page, probably on the fourth day of your testing cycle, through exploratory testing, you might find it in day one. So that's the obvious kind of errors, even though they are, quite a good way into the application, you would still be able to find it because you're not following an order, you're not following any, a set schedule or a set sequence of pages that you are evaluating. Now, then so the question might be, if it is so advantageous and you can get to errors quickly, then why do we follow documented form of the traditional form of testing still? The answer is, with exploratory testing, there's never a surety. You cannot ensure that that defect will be caught. I'm just talking about the more like, page not found, that sort of very obvious errors. So if there are any subtle logic sort of a problem, exploratory testing is not a good candidate to find out. And the third case is one of my favorite reasons for using exploratory testing. And my favorite example to use for this, exploratory testing example is the create an account, any sort of an account page. So if you see here, there are close to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 or 12 to 15 elements on this page. So simply to create or validate every element on this page and all the elements in combination, you would need to create probably a lot of test cases. So the example I'm trying to give here is, say you have a first name. So let's say these are all the fields in your application: last name, address. So I'm not picking the exact fields, but you get the picture. Phone number, and probably agreeing to the terms and conditions. Agree, yes or no. So let's say if these are the only 5 fields or elements on that page. So how would you test it? You would test one situation where everything is correct, right? So there's a random address that you'll put, a random phone number that you'll enter in here, and you say yes. So for all the scenarios where the agreement is no, it's going to be an unsuccessful result. So you give all the valid data, and what will be the output of this step? You would, successfully create an account. So if there is the output is going to be a success. But for all the failures, so you might leave everything blank, right? In that case, this will be a failure. That means you will receive a notification or an error message. Similarly, if you leave the first name empty and fill in the rest of them, you would still have a failure, correct? And when you would fill the first name but leave the rest of them empty, you would have a failure. So on and so forth. There are multiple tens or even hundreds of combinations to check these just 5 fields, correct? And individually in the field also you would check for special characters, names, numbers, the regular characters, periods, ampersands, and all of that stuff, correct? So when a field, and also think about the importance of testing that way. And this might be just one functionality. You might have to get past this to really get to the core of this application. So in cases like that, where you have a lot of fields or inputs to check, it does not make a lot of sense to make an elaborate table like this. And also business criticality is important. So had this been a screen that calculates loans and loan amounts or something like that for a mortgage company, in that case, even if it is difficult, even if it is tedious, you would still draw up a table like this, try to calculate the loan amounts correctly. But for something simple like creating an account, that amount of concentration is not necessary, and this amount of thoroughness and getting all the permutations and combinations might be slightly excessive. So in cases like that, exploratory testing is the best route to go. Take this, get to this page, just randomly enter some information, don't enter some information, see what's happening. If it makes logical sense, and if you feel like it's all going in accordance to the requirements, you can just say that this page is working. Again, try to strike a balance between documented form of testing and exploratory testing when there are lots of fields or when there are lots of elements that you need to check and the business criticality of those fields is low. So exploratory testing is nothing but randomly checking your application to see if there are any obvious errors. It is also called ad hoc and monkey testing. The main intention of exploratory testing and the primary reason why it's recommended for all new projects or all new versions of an application to go through exploratory testing is because they want us to get familiarized with the application, and while you're doing so, be sure to keep an eye out for any obvious errors. And the other place where exploratory testing comes in very much handy is when you have too many fields that do not have a lot of business impact, and you're making sure that you're testing them as thoroughly as possible while striking the right balance between not too much exploration and not too much documentation. Thank you.